Surds. What is a surd? A surd is the square root of a known squared number, which cannot be simplified into a whole number. Surd numbers. Square root 2 equals 1.41421. Square root 3 equals 1.73205. Square root 5 equals 2.23606. Square root 6 equals 2.44948. Square root 7 equals 2.64575. Square root 8 equals 2.82842. These are surds because their square root do not give whole numbers. Non-surd number. A non-surd is the square root of square numbers. Examples: square root 4 equals 2. Square root 9 equals 3. Square root 25 equals 5. Square root 36 equals 6. Square root 49 equals 7. Square root 64 equals 8. Like and unlike surds. Like surds are two or more surds that have the same number in their root signs. Examples of like surds: 2 square root 3, 5 square root 3, and 6 square root 3. 5 square root 11, 8 square root 11, and 2 square root 11. 3 square root 7, 7 square root 7, and square root 7. Unlike surds are two or more surds that do not have the same number in their root signs. Examples of unlike surds: square root 7, square root 3, and square root 22. 12 square root 13, 12 square root 15, and 10 square root 7. 2 square root 3, 2 square root 8, and 2 square root 11. Simplification of surds. Rule: break the number inside the root sign into two factors, one a perfect square number, the other a surd number. Then, simplify the surd by taking the square root of the perfect square. Let's repeat this rule. Break the number inside the root sign into two factors, one a perfect square number, the other a surd number. Then, simplify the surd by taking the square root of the perfect square. Example 1. Simplify the following: 1 square root 12, 2 square root 24, 3 square root 50, 4 2 square root 200. Solution: 1 square root 12 equals square root 4 times 3 equals square root 4 times square root 3 equals 2 times square root 3 equals 2 square root 3. Here, 4 is the perfect square number, while 3 is the surd number. 2. Square root 24 equals square root 4 times 6 equals square root 4 times square root 6 equals 2 times square root 6 equals 2 square root 6. 3. Square root 50 equals square root 25 times 2 equals square root 25 times square root 2 equals 5 times square root 2 equals 5 square root 2. 4. 2 square root 200 equals 2 square root 100 times square root 2 equals 2 square root 100 times square root 2 equals 2 times 10 square root 10 times square root 2 equals 20 square root 20. More examples. Express the following as a square root of a single number. 1. 2 square root 11. 2. 10 square root 3. 3. 5 square root 7. Note: this is the reversal process of simplification. Solution: 1. 2 square root 11. Square the coefficient of the root. Then, multiply by the number inside the root sign. That is, square root 2 times 2 times 11 equals square root 4 times 11 equals square root 44. 2. 10 square root 30 equals square root 10 times 10 times 30 equals square root 100 times 30 equals square root 3000. 3. 5 square root 7 equals square root 5 times 5 times 7 equals square root 25 times 7 equals square root 175. Past examination questions. NECO 2006. A. Express square root 243 plus 12 over square root 3 as a single surd. B. Hence, find the value of 13 over square root 3 into square root 243 plus 12 over square root 3. Solution. First rationalize 12 over square root 3. That is, multiply the numerator and the denominator by square root 3. That is, 12 over square root 3 multiply square root 3 over square root 3 equals 12 square root 3 over 3, cancelled out by 3. equals 4 square root 3. Express 4 square root 3 as a single surd. That is square root 4 times 4 times 3 equals square root 48. The expression becomes square root 243 plus square root 48. To add surds, we must simplify first. Therefore, square root 243 plus square root 48 equals square root 81 times square root 3 plus square root 16 times square root 3. 9 square root 3 plus 4 square root 3 equals 9 plus 4 square root 3 equals 13 square root 3. B. 13 over square root 5 into square root 243 plus 12 over square root 3. Already, square root 243 plus 12 over square root 3 equals 13 square root 3. Therefore, 13 over square root 3 into square root 243 plus 12 over square root 3 is 13 over square root 3 into 13 square root 3. 13 over square root 3 times 13 square root 3. 13 times 13 square root 3 over square root 3 equals 169 square root 3 over square root 3 equals 169. Test yourself. 1. Simplify square root 162. 2. Express 4